Round 17 of the Formula One World Championship season, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, the last race of 2001. On pole position, Michael Schumacher, the world champion, his 43rd pole position of his career and his 11th of the season. And alongside him on the front row, Juan Pablo Montoya for Williams, his 5th front row position of the season. On row 2 came Ralf Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello. Barrichello needing to finish first to stand a chance of finishing second in the Drivers' Championship. Mika Hakkinen on row 3 in his last Grand Prix before taking a sabbatical from the sport, and Jean Alesi on row 6, his 201st and last Grand Prix after a career which began back in 1989. 22 drivers on the grid, 5.762 seconds covered those drivers from Michael Schumacher back to Alex Yoong. Once the lights went out, Michael Schumacher made a good start, covering across the track to cover Juan Pablo Montoya's start down the inside. Giancarlo Fisichella was another fast starter for Benetton, moving up alongside Rubens Barrichello briefly before Barrichello took 4th place back from him. Michael Schumacher stormed up the hill away from Montoya. Ralf Schumacher came under pressure from Rubens Barrichello. Barrichello swept past the Williams, his Ferrari with a light fuel load, as his team attempted to get him into first place so that he stood a chance of taking that second spot in the Drivers' Championship. First lap of 53 completed, and Michael Schumacher with a substantial lead of 3.638 seconds. Fisichella holding down 5th place. But then Fisichella hit trouble. A spin and he slithered out of contention, dropping out of the points. Michael Schumacher, meantime, the fastest man on the circuit. Then a huge collision between the Sauber of Kimi Räikkönen and the Jordan of Jean Alesi. Disappointing end to a long career for Jean Alesi. His first concern was for his fellow driver Kimi Räikkönen. Räikkönen in a big spin, and little that Alesi could do to avoid him. Also of concern, the fact that the tyres cut loose. None of the following drivers were involved. Räikkönen and Alesi both okay, but for Alesi it was goodbye to Formula One. Michael Schumacher just drove away from the rest of the field. With the world champion in such superlative form, even in the early stages it seemed simply a question of who was going to finish second. Jean Alesi said goodbye to his Jordan team. Barrichello was the first pits caller. The early stop suggesting that he was on a 3-stop strategy. Would it work out for him? Not immediately, because he came out behind Trulli and Fisichella. Mika Hakkinen, an impressive show from him. Michael Schumacher into the pits. This gave the lead to Montoya. Schumacher came out behind Hakkinen, but ahead of Coulthard. Montoya in first place and trying to press home his advantage. After 18 laps, it was a Williams 1-2. Michael Schumacher chasing after Hakkinen. But Hakkinen in no mood to let Michael Schumacher through. Tremendous scrap between the two great drivers of this generation. Montoya into the pits. A stop which dropped him from 1st to 5th. Ralf Schumacher now in front of the Japanese Grand Prix. An intriguing race with the leaderboard constantly fluctuating. Ralf Schumacher ahead after 21 laps, followed by Hakkinen in the McLaren and Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari. Coulthard, importantly, still ahead of Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher's first pit call. dropped him down to 5th place. Hakkinen inherited the lead briefly before he too called into the pits. Eddie Irvine, his Japanese Grand Prix ended in retirement. And Ralf Schumacher received a stop-go penalty for an infringement at the chicane. He came in to serve it at the same time as Rubens Barrichello came in for his second pit stop. Ralf Schumacher had a chance to overtake Barrichello if the Ferrari pit stop dragged on. As it was, Schumacher was right on Barrichello's tail as they came out of the pits, overtook him on the exit, and was under investigation for putting a wheel over the white line, shades of his race at Nürburgring. Ralf Schumacher keeping Barrichello at bay. Barrichello seemed to have taken 5th place from Schumacher at the chicane till Schumacher took the shortcut, much to the displeasure of the Brazilian. Schumacher had to give way to Barrichello or suffer another investigation by the stewards. Things going smoothly now for Ferrari, with Michael Schumacher out in front and moving away from Montoya in 2nd place. The world champion hadn't put a wheel wrong. David Coulthard moved ahead of Mika Hakkinen, the Finn letting his teammate through to take a place on the podium. Schumacher eased off in the closing stages. Montoya close to within 5 seconds of him. But it was Michael Schumacher's day, taking the checkered flag for the 4th time at Suzuka and the 53rd time in his Grand Prix career, a new record. He'd also become the greatest point scorer in Formula One, overtaking Alain Prost. Coulthard made sure of 2nd place in the championship with 3rd place here. This was the race classification after Schumacher had won in a fraction over 1 hour 27. Montoya and Coulthard joining him on the podium. Hakkinen, Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher picking up the remaining points. Button in the Benetton just missing out. So victory for Michael Schumacher, but Mika Hakkinen the centre of attention too in this, his last Grand Prix before his sabbatical. 17 drivers in all classified, including Alex Young, the Malaysian driver in the Minardi, in the classification for the first time in a Formula One Grand Prix. Among the not classified drivers, Kimi Räikkönen and Jean Alesi, who had that dramatic collision in the early part of the race. Delight for Ferrari and Michael Schumacher as they finish the season on a high note. Schumacher congratulated by his teammate Barrichello and by David Coulthard. And most drivers took the opportunity to say goodbye for the time being to Mika Hakkinen. Michael Schumacher winning the Drivers' Championship by a margin of 58 points in the end. Rubens Barrichello having to be content with 3rd place, Ralf Schumacher 4th, and it was 5th place for Mika Hakkinen with 37 points. Jean Alesi rounded off his career with 14th place and 6 points. In all, 18 drivers scored points in this 2001 season. In the Constructors' Championship, it was Ferrari winning by the margin of 77 points, Williams picking up 80 points, so they would definitely be contenders next year. Sauber in 4th place in the championship, ahead of the 2 Honda engine teams, BAR and Jordan. Jaguar and Benetton both making it into double figures. The only team not to score a point during the 2001 season, Minardi. Farewell to Mika Hakkinen, great driver, great champion. And the race winner was another one.
Despite the records, to finish the season with a high in first position, that's what you wish to do, and then go to the long winter break we're going to face now. Obviously, we have had maybe 2 races being a little bit difficult for us, Monza and Indianapolis, and now we're back to normality, and that's a great end and a great result for a championship we have achieved to finish off the season for the team, for everyone.
Juan Pablo Montoya on the podium for the 4th time this season.
I think it's been a good season. I think I was very unlucky in a lot of occasions that I could have had a very good result and the car broke down or something that happened, and I think we missed a lot of points. But being my first season, I think it's pretty good.
10 podiums this year for David Coulthard and 2nd place in the championship.
I did everything I could this year, and that was it. 2nd place was the best that I could do. Obviously a big gap to where Michael finished, and I think I was helped a little bit by Mika at the end there, who I think didn't want to come and have to talk to you this afternoon. So I thank him for that. But it's nice to finish the season, as Michael said, on the podium. To win would be fantastic, but I've never been that good around Suzuka, so I guess third isn't a bad result.
No Hakkinen and no Alesi next year, but this man will still be the driver to beat.